Welcome to Sleep Avenue where we sleep the tea. So today we'll be talking about Living in the Dark, episode 2. And for today's episode, we'll be talking specifically about secondary school stories. As you can see in the Spotify title. Um, with me today, I'm your host, firstly, Zo. And with me today is no one. Why? Where's Arwan? Because he's busy, so I had to do it alone solo. And I did get his permission. So yeah, I'm doing it alone and I'm basically telling the story to no one except y'all. So it feels kind of awkward, because I'm talking to myself. And the time was around 2:30 a.m. That's alright. I'm in my room alone, just chilling. Okay, by the way, before we start off today's episode, for episode 1 of Living in the Dark, which was talking about my house experience basically, there is also a YouTube video on it where we were in Pasir Ris Park and then we were in the car taking making like recording the podcast basically. And in that video, one of the time frame basically, I think it was on 20-minute mark, basically had Arwan looking behind the car because he told me he saw something in the back. I told him, oh, it looks just like a reflection. But then he told me it looked like a shadow was walking past behind him, and I'm getting chills. Why am I looking behind? Okay, there is no one. And yeah, basically he thought there was someone walking behind him. And okay, a quick backstory before we start this episode. When we did that Pasir Ris Park video, right? We when we actually parked at that spot, Aaron actually went out to take a breather. I also went out, and Aaron actually mentioned how there was a swing at Pasir Ris Park, which was near us. That was actually swinging by itself, and I was like, dude, what the fuck? Why are you mentioning that shit? Like it's you know that you're not supposed to say shit out loud if you see something that is not supposed to be happening at night. I mean, at least to Muslims and Malays, that's like the number one rule when you're going to like spooky or like suspicious areas. But he mentioned it and then he experienced that basically. And then one more thing that actually happened after that, which I didn't tell him. So if he tells me about it, that means he listened to the podcast. If he didn't, that means he didn't listen to the podcast. So I'll find out by that. So basically, after that whole podcast episode, we went back to my house to chill. And in my house, outside of my house actually, there is a like a CCTV camera, so like you can see people walking near your house, and then you can also kind of like watch the video and like, listen to the recording. And there's one specific feature of the app, which is that if someone were to walk in the proximity of the camera, your notification will ring off and say that someone alerted the alarm, or like your ringer, whatever it is, the bell, the doorbell. And then right when we were in the house, right, and I went into the room, there were 3 notifications saying that someone was in that vicinity. So basically someone was outside my house. It was around 2 plus AM already, by the way. First time was like when we immediately like right when we entered the room, into the 3-minute mark. I think like 5 minutes into being in the room, then it hit again. And then the third time was like 10 to 15 minutes after we were in the room. I didn't mention it because I thought it was just a technical difficulty, but I asked my parents if they actually faced anything like that, with this app, and they said they didn't, because it was quite an accurate app. So basically like it only detects if there's actually people. So yeah, I mean that's something that y'all can think of, that y'all can think about basically. Okay, so now we'll be talking about. Finally, we'll be moving on to episode 2. Damn, it's already been 4 minutes into it, and I've just been talking about the previous episode. Okay, let's go. So for secondary school, I'm currently 19 years old, and basically I'm already in poly last year. So I'm in the last year basically, and okay. Oh shit, I shouldn't be saying basically a lot. I've been saying that a lot. Okay, so basically, look, I said it again. Okay, so secondary school has been, in the past, like 3 years in the past, my life. And secondary school obviously was a fun, memorable time of my life. And it also had some of the spooky experiences in my life. It's also where I actually got some, experiences, kind of, yeah. And most of these were from having CCA camps. Because if you are in secondary school, or if you went to secondary school, you would know that if you have CCA camps, it would usually be night. It will usually go through the night. So basically, it will be a 2 day, 3 days or 2 days, 1 night camp, and you will have to sleep in the camp. So for my CCA, it was NCC Land. Okay, and NCC Land in my school, that CCA was such an asshole to the juniors and to the seniors, to the juniors and seniors. And what I mean by this is that if you're a junior, right, during the CCA camp, there'll be Hell Night, which is where you wake up 2 plus a.m. in the morning to get pumped by the seniors. So you basically do a lot of physical activity till you like feel tired as shit. Secondly, there's the night walk. I liked it, by the way, because I like feeling the adrenaline rush. But some people who are pussies, they hate the night walk because you are doing solo, and you're walking through like the spooky parts of school, and it's at night, so obviously some of the lights aren't switched on. Lastly, are the solo sleeps. So solo sleeps happen when where you sleep in a specific location of the in the school compound, and you're alone in like within like a specific vicinity. So I'll be talking about my experiences when I was a junior and also when I was a senior. I'll save the best for last, which is when I was a senior. So now I'll be talking about my experiences when I was a junior and when I was having my solo sleep. Okay, so let's start it off. So during my solo sleep, I think it was when I was in secondary two. Yeah, it was in secondary two. So in secondary two, I had solo sleep in the gallery. So basically, oh shit, if I say that, I'm pretty sure you all will know where I was in secondary school. So basically, that gallery is not what you're imagining right now. Imagine your hall, right? Your school hall. Then your school hall has like an upper deck, you know? So your school hall is at level 2, right? And then at level 3, there's like an upper deck where you can still view the hall and like the stage. And that level 3 is mainly for you to use the visualizer and also like the stage lights. But then around the area there's like platforms where you can kind of like sit on, to view the stage from like a better angle. I would say better angle, yeah. So I was like planned to sleep at the gallery, which was at that area, at that platform above the hall. And then one of my friend was supposed to sleep in the middle of the hall. So technically for me, it wasn't really solo sleep because we had two people in the same area. It's just like whenever I wanted to communicate with him, I could, because we could just shout it out and then no one would hear except the two of us, right? So when we were sleeping, it was already like what 10-11 p.m. and we were alone in the room, in the hall, and the only light that we could actually like see with our naked eyes was the exit sign, because the exit sign is always switched on, for like safety purposes. So we were just sleeping and chilling, right, until suddenly I heard dum, dum, and I was like, does that actually sound like a piano? And I just kept quiet, and I kept quiet for a bit. And then my friend in the hall shouted, "Yo, Zul, do you hear that?" And I was like, "Oh shit." In my mind, I was like, "Oh shit." He heard it as well. So it wasn't just my imagination. And then I was like, bro, just go to sleep. Yeah, I did. I didn't say what, but when I said that, he knew what I was talking about. So then we just slept through it. It was not really that scary because we just heard piano noises. And then for him, he heard bell noises as well. So I was already asleep, right? And in the hall, basically there are shutters surrounding the hall to like keep it closed at all times. There's only that two doors which you can use to open and close, which the seniors used to let him enter into the hall. So near the shutters, he heard like a woman. I'm not trying to be racist, but you know how like some Indian women, they wear like jewelry around their feet, like below their feet there, and then when they walk around, it will like cling, like ding 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 like that. Yeah, so he heard that and he was like, "Oh, why is there someone walking around the hall at like 11:30 a.m. where most of the CCS were already asleep?" So yeah, that was the first experience that actually happened. It wasn't really that spooky because I heard piano noises only, and at that point of time, I thought it was the seniors messing around until I realized that the only like the only way they could actually get to the back of the hall where the piano was placed was through this back door, and the back door was actually closed at all times, so they couldn't have entered through it basically. Yeah. And I only found out about that like a few days later when I checked. Yeah. So that was like one of the scary things that happened when I was a junior. So now let's move on to when I was a senior. And when I was a senior, if I'm not wrong, I only did one camp, and I was in charge of the sec once. So this happened. Okay, I'll talk about the one that happened before the night walk. Okay, before the night walk, a day before that, I'm not sure if it was a day or it was like a few hours before the night walk. Okay, but um, all the other seniors who were in charge of like sec two, sec three, and sec fours, they were preparing. They were like, I'm not sure what they were doing, but they told me to get the room ready for them to actually come over, for the juniors to come over and like sit down. Oh, it was movie night. I think it was movie night. So the juniors would use that classroom to have like movie night, if I'm not wrong. And I was in charge of like making sure the room was good to go, like cleaned up, the lights are switched on, the fans are okay. And all the other seniors would I think they went to fetch the juniors. So they told me, oh yeah, Zul, you just set up the room and then anything can update me. And during that camp, I forgot to tell you all, we actually used what was it? We actually used walkie-talkies, because our sergeant major, which is like the number one lead, he thought it would be cool to use freaking walkie-talkies. And so how walkie-talkies actually work, if you all don't know, is that you use the same frequency and you are able to talk to the other person or to people with the same frequency, right? And at that point of time, we all changed our frequency to everyone changed it to a same number, which was like I think 1 point something something. And they told me, okay, anything, we'll update you through the walkie-talkie. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So I did it. I finished it up. And then I chilled. I chilled outside the classroom, just waiting for them. And I was looking at the view. I think it was around 8 p.m. So it wasn't really that spooky for me because the canteen light was still open and some CCAs were still having their dinner or like were just chilling outside. And suddenly all the other seniors, like my friends, came over to me. They looked kind of pissed. And they were like, Zul, so now I call you on the walkie-talkie and you never reply. You said something and then you just stop. I'm like, huh? What do you mean? They told me. They were like, when when I asked you, Zul, is the room ready? You replied, yeah. And then I asked, you sure? And you didn't reply at all. Then I'm like, what? Yo, I'm having goosebumps. And basically, I I said what because I never got a call from the walkie-talkie and I never interacted on the walkie-talkie as well. And I'm spooked out of my head right now because I'm scared of that story. Okay, basically, yeah. So after that I was like, I didn't say shit. And I was like, okay, maybe the other seniors were saying were that responded, okay, like yeah. And then they he told me like, bro, don't be stupid. All the other seniors are with me. And only 5 seniors had walkie-talkies, basically the top 5. Sergeant Major, Assistant Sergeant Major if I'm not wrong. Then the Sec 1 lead, Sec 2 lead, and Sec 3 lead. I took charge of the Sec 1, so I had one walkie-talkie, right? And he told me all 3 of them were with him when he called me. So the only person that could actually respond to that was me. And then they checked my frequency, and guess what? My frequency was way different than them. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but the frequency was different, and they heard my voice responding yeah to to the sergeant major's question, which was, "Is the room ready?" I keep looking at the window because I think something's staring at me, but it's just my feeling. Just yep, there's nothing. I'm just spooking myself out. Okay, for the last story before we end it off, it's already 15 minutes. I want to make it around 20-25 minutes. So let's make the last story short and sweet. But it is also the one that frightens me most. Okay. So this one is during the night walk itself. So after we got it ready, the set ones were the first ones to go because they were fresh. Okay, that sounded weird as heck. I didn't mean it to come across that way, but I meant as in they were new, to NCC and they had to learn and understand the traditions and culture that we uphold basically. And one of them, which was important to us, was night walk. Yeah. And the sec one started first. The sec twos and sec threes were just chilling in the same room, and then for the sec ones, we were telling them through the whiteboard like what rooms they were meant to go. So from the classroom, they go into one station, another station, another station, and at the end point is basketball court. So the point of the stations is that at every station there'll be a pen and paper and a light stick. So when they go into the location, you have to find that light stick, use that pen and write down their names. The main reason for this is because in the past years there were some people that actually skipped a location and we couldn't find out who, you know. So by doing so, if you don't see the names on the list, then you know who actually skipped them and then you can actually punish them later on lah. So we told them about it and I was stationed at the most at like I was at the wrong place, wrong time, basically. So I was at outside geography room. Okay, I want you all to close your eyes and imagine how the geography room looks like to me. Okay, so I was outside the geography room. Okay, the geography room is along a walkway. Okay, in the middle of a walkway, and right in front of the geography room is a huge pillar. Okay, so I was hidden behind that pillar. So there's a geography room. In the middle is a pillar. The geography room door is here. Pillar here, and I'm hiding here. And of course, when the pillar is blocking, like the when the pillar is there, it basically blocks off the light that is facing me. So if I hide behind the pillar, no one could see me, and I could see them because there was an exit sign near the geography. Okay, so I was just chilling, sitting down and like observing them to see if they knew where to go to the job room. And then most of them actually did not know how to go into the job room, so they actually walked past it. And my job is to tell them, okay, so this was what I said lah. Hey cadet or hey private, I'm not so sure. Hey cadet, the job room is to your left. Please enter the room. And then they'll be like, oh sorry, and they'll turn back, you turn, and then go into the room, sign, and get away, go home. Go home, and then just leave and then go to the next station. Because the sec ones, I'm not so sure. I think they did not do geography in that job classroom. They did it in their own like respective classrooms. So that job classroom is mainly for those who take pure geography in sec 3 and sec 4. So that's why they don't know about it and they're sec 1s. So yeah, almost I would say at least 95% of them didn't know where the job room was. And then suddenly one kid who I saw from the corner of my eye while I was hiding behind this pillar, right? One kid, he walks by and he immediately goes into the job room. He knows about it. And I was like, my mom was like, oh shit, this guy is smart. I was impressed. I was actually genuinely impressed by that kid. Because he was one of the first ones to actually go into the job room without me telling him to. And then I was ready to message my friends, like my other CCA mates. I was like, yo, this one kid finally knows how to go to the job room. Wow, finally, I was like kind of say that. Then suddenly one of my seniors was an ex-secondary school student because he came back, for the CCA. He and one of my friend, they went, so both of them went to me. Like, oh Zul, you slacking why are you using your phone? I was like, oh relax I'm just using it to text because that guy just not go into the room. And those two guys also saw him. They were like, hey, come on, let's get him. And I was like, serious And I was like, yeah, let's get him We wait for him outside the door and then we just shot at him. And we thought it was a funny idea. So all three of us were hiding beside the door and then waiting for him to come up, so that we could scare him. So when I say we were trying to scare him, that shows what? That shows that all of us actually saw that guy go into the room. So we waited 5 seconds. No one came out. 10 seconds. No one came out. 20 seconds? No one came out. 30 seconds, that's where we felt like some shit was off, So I looked at my senior and my friend looked at me and we were like, hey bro, you sure not a person went inside? And three of us were all saying at the same time, yeah, 100%. The kid literally went into the job room by himself, and if he were to exit, there was a metal door. It would actually make a bang sound, like a click sound, because of the metal door and and basically how a heavy metal door will actually like bang a bit. You can hear that sound. It won't ever be silent. And then we were like pushing up. We're like, okay, who the fuck is gonna open the door then? And then in the end, we all three opened at the same time. And then we opened. And then we shouted, cadet, If you are inside this room, please sound off. And then no one. There was no sound at all. And then you're like, okay, shit, maybe he fainted. Maybe because it was too dark. The room was absolutely dark, by the way. The windows were all covered. So literally there was no light except for that one glow stick. So maybe he fainted. So we're like, okay, let's on the lights. We on the lights. And there was no one. And I'm getting mad goosebumps right now because that story still scares me at this moment. And yeah, there was no one. And then, okay, but basically the thing was the job room had 3 doors. Okay. They were entering from the first door that is super close to the walkway. So I told my senior and my friend, okay lah, why if he exited through the other 2 doors in the front? Because easier, what? You enter from the back and then you exit from the front lah. So we go into the next location. Easier, right? And then I checked the second door. It was locked. My senior checked the third door, and guess what? It was locked. So the only way for this one kid to actually enter and leave was from that first door. And he didn't leave. And we were like, what the fuck was that? And relax, that wasn't the end of the story. Remember how at the start I told you all about how there's the glow stick, paper and pen to actually check who skipped? The thing was, I remembered who went before that kid that was missing and after that kid was missing. Because right when we left that job room, after that kid was missing, right? We actually like went face to face with a junior that wanted to go in. And I was like, oh, okay, go in next. We say that lah. And after he went in, we watched him sign the paper, and then we looked at the paper. Okay, his name, blah 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 blah. I would call him, okay, for example, okay, this is just a fake name. I would say the Chinese guy is Aiden. So Aiden signed his name and we checked. And before Aiden, fake name again, Farhan. So Farhan went before Aiden, and so Farhan was the guy that was supposed to be missing, right? No, guess what? Before that kid that went missing entered, I clearly saw Farhan entered. Farhan entered and left. Why did I know Farhan entered and left? Because he did not know where the geography room was. And I had to specifically tell Farhan, hey Farhan, enter inside geog room. And then that Aiden guy, we saw him because we accidentally came face to face with him. So that middle guy, who the fuck was that? And I couldn't believe my eyes. None of us, senior and my other friend, we couldn't believe our eyes like what we saw. So we asked the Sec 1 juniors lah after they all assembled when they finished the night walk. And then I asked all of them, okay, who went after Farhan and before Aiden? I think you all forget to write the name down. And no one. Farhan said, I entered. Aiden said, I go after Farhan. Because in the classroom, you know who is going next, what? Right? So Aiden said, oh, I went after Farhan. And then I said, okay, who entered before Aiden then? No one. So who the fuck was that? That kid that went into the job room that me, my senior, and my friend saw. Oh my god, I'm getting fucking chills right here, bro. So yeah, that was the scariest one lah. The thing was both these incidents happened during the same camp. And the weird thing was that it only happened to me. So why did it happen to me, you know? First was the walkie-talkie incident. And secondly was this missing, like this guy that went to the job room and went missing. You know? Something scary to think about. And like to this day, like whenever people ask me, hey yo, Zul, do you have any spooky things to talk about? You know, at night when you are feeling the mood, you want to talk about horror stories. This is my go-to story because I feel like the duration is just nice to talk about it, and it's spooky enough to make you like wonder like what the fuck did you just see, you know? And you know, based on our title, which is Living in the Dark, who was actually living in the dark in that job room? Was it a person, or was it something unknown? You know? So yeah, guys, that basically sums up this whole episode, part 2. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'm so sorry that you all couldn't listen to me doing it with my friend, with my co-host Arwan. He's apparently very busy with school. Yes, we are still 19. We are still schooling, you know. I'm having my internship right now, so usually after intern, I'm quite free. Whereas for him, he's still having some school stuff to do. That's why usually, even after school, he still has to do some assignments and projects, and thus why he's always busy. That's why it's quite hard for me to actually get like a specific, to get like a lot of time to talk to him about this podcast, you know. That's why I decided to do this solo for this episode. and most of the time he doesn't really have any spooky stories. So I would consider myself more responsible for living in the dark. And if y'all are wondering if we are only talking about horror stories in our podcast, no, we are not. It's just that I'm really interested in like horror stories and like the paranormal. So I tend to talk about it a lot. But I'm not sure when it will be uploaded. I think it will be before this podcast. It'll be a podcast about transitioning from secondary school to JC, Poly, or ITE. And we felt like it was the right time to talk about it because it is nearing O level, and I'm pretty sure all of you secondary school students are actually studying for it right now. Yeah, so do look out for it. This will be like this will be like this will be like the only paranormal episode in a few days because I feel like I've ran out of horror stories to think of to think about. Yeah. So I hope you'll enjoy these three short stories from me when I was a junior in NCC Land and a senior in NCC Land. I almost said the secondary school name. My bad. In NCC Land and my nighttime camps. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you. This is Sleep Avenue, and I hope you all had fun. Bye bye.